Hello and welcome back to another Warlords of Draenor video. This time we're going to be talking about Q&A questions on lore. Now, there was two different Q&As that happened during the event, and I'm going to condense this all into one video. There is, of course, the general World of Warcraft Q&A panel, and then there was also one that was held with a bunch of media people, and it was posted on Curse. So, I've got transcriptions of both, so let's work our way through the lore stuff. Now, this is in no particular order, but hey, it should lead on to some fun discussion. So first of all, Ogres. So the Ogres that we've seen so far are not organised, and they're not really as interesting as the ones that we'll see in Draenor. Now, the Ogres in Draenor, well, Draenor used to be essentially not ruled by the Ogre Empire, but the Ogre Empire was really the only empire on the planet. Draenor is a very harsh and savage place, and the Ogres were the only empire, meaning that right now when we come back, we see them a little bit in decline. The Horde will be fighting them immediately in Frostfire Ridge, where they'll be trying to help the Frostwolf Orc clan against them. But anyway, just looking at these Ogres, they do certainly look far more brutal, far more interesting, and generally I just think they look like fantastic villains, or at least side villains for this expansion. So yeah, Ogres, they're going to be more interesting. They also said that we're going to find out what the Arakkoa were like before they got all twisted. Now, in Outland, when we see the Arakkoa, they're very twisted, they don't have wings, they're very... I suppose they look like a bird that's been put, maybe, I don't know, in the microwave for a bit. These guys, beforehand, they had wings, and I'm actually, it wouldn't surprise me if they were quite a beautiful race, if you know what I mean. In that, not beautiful as in, you know, I mean more being beautiful as in kind of like graceful, bird-like, slender, with these sort of nice big wings or something like that. I think they could actually aesthetically do fantastic things with the Arakkoa. It remains to be seen. We haven't actually seen any screenshots of what they will look like in Warlords of Draenor, though. Next, they said that the Dark Iron Dwarves will make a small appearance in Warlords of Draenor. I have absolutely no idea what this could mean. So far, I thought that the Council of the Three Hammers was going quite well, and in terms of dwarf diplomacy, I think everything's essentially sorted. So I'm not too sure how the Dark Irons will make this small appearance that they're talking about. Also, they said that Wrathion had a very important role to play in Mists of Pandaria, but he will not really be a main character in Warlords of Draenor. He will make a short appearance, that's for sure, because the things that happen in Warlords of Draenor, I'm sure, well, what they have told us they're going to lead into the next expansion, and since the next expansion is, in my opinion, likely to be either the Burning Legion or the Old Gods, Wrathion as the only uncorrupted Black Dragon, and therefore it's sort of his responsibility or his thing to help protect the Earth. I know that officially Thrall is the guy with that title, but Wrathion, it's kind of in his blood to do that. So no matter what the next expansion is, Wrathion is going to be involved in that. So I'd say he'll probably pop up to talk a little bit about it, drop some lore hints for the next expansion during Warlords of Draenor. Also, when talking about the Titans, they said that the Titans did visit Draenor, but they're not around anymore, and we're only going to see a little bit of the Titans in this expansion. Essentially, Azeroth is one of those planets where the Titans spent a great deal more time than they usually do at Worlds. With Draenor, they sort of came there, they kind of got the ball rolling, and then they left. And I suppose this may explain why Azeroth had lots of empires. It was quite an ordered planet, really. At least for the period until the old gods started to regain their power. Draenor, however, very savage, very unordered, and probably that reflects how the Titans really just sort of came there, kicked the whole thing off, and left. I don't even think the Titans made any races on Draenor, such as the way they made the Mogu and the Earthen, so yeah, it's pretty interesting. Also, for the Celestial Dragons, they said that there isn't any official lore, they just look cool, and that they are Titan creations, probably just to help them, I don't know, help them around the place or do things. I'm not specifically sure, but that's what they said anyway. Also, in regards to our current Horde, they said that the Horde will have a chance to go back and redefine itself and come away from the end of Mists of Pandaria even stronger than they left. And obviously, the Horde really did have quite a beating with the stuff that Garrosh did, and well, I'd say they'll probably end up coming out the stronger. They'll be more unified. The different races, I think, will work together stronger because you know that sort of thing about bonds forged in the fire of battle? Well, a lot of the races which were, I suppose, given trouble by Garrosh are going to have better relations now. The Horde should be more cohesive, and in a way, a little bit more like the Alliance in terms of how much the leaders are getting on and working with each other, which I suppose does make sense, because the Horde players have had a lot of time either being under the lead of one tyrant or having a lot of shit going on. I suppose it's okay now for them to have some solid leadership from Vol'jin. Also, they said that there are currently no plans for Aurelia and Turullion in Warlords of Draenor. However, the coming expansion after that, they will have massive. And there will be massive characters in that, which essentially sort of means that the next expansion is probably going to be the Burning Legion. This is very exciting to me, and really are really interesting characters, and I think it'll be great to have them back. And hopefully, I'd say they can probably introduce them maybe in the final patch of Warlords of Draenor. When I say final patch, I mean not the final raid patch, but if there was a patch after that. I don't know, I think they could just be a great way to lead us into the story of the next expansion. After all, Blizzard did say that these expansions are going to start following on from each other very much in terms of having a direct, cohesive story through all of them. Actually, I think that's a really nice way of doing the story and the lore. So, all good stuff. Next, they were talking about Thrall, and they said that most of his family is alive in Draenor, and that the Sourfangs may or may not appear, they just haven't really decided yet. Also, the team couldn't use every single character from Draenor when telling this story, so they're going to focus on core characters. This is something that they have to do quite a lot. While there are lots of characters, and they all are worthy of screen time, in an MMO, storytelling is quite hard to do, so they really need to focus in on the main characters so that they can at least tell a cohesive story within the MMO. I think if you want to have more like extended lore and stuff like that, then there's other things like books and short stories, which they do release. So yeah, that's all pretty good stuff. And apparently, just while I'm talking about books, they did say that Garrosh is probably going to have a book based on him. I'm not too sure if it's by Knack or Christy Golden. I'd very much hope it's by Christy Golden because she's a better author in my opinion. So yeah, we're getting a book anyway. Also, they said that when Garrosh goes back, he spins off into his own timeline, and then he's going to come back into our world, but his actions won't change our history. Now, the reason this is explained is because his time-traveling friend, which they talked about, who is most likely Kairos, is able to, they described it as bending time, not going back in it. So he's probably going back to an alternate universe or something like that of, like, his own basic timeline, essentially, for Draenor, which means it's not going to screw up the continuity of our world, which basically just means they can go and have this really cool expansion in the past, bring us to some of these wonderful locations, which, by the way, I'm completely sold on after seeing what they've done. So, yeah, that's all good stuff, and that really covers up all the different Q&A things that Blizzard talked about in regards to lore this time. We did have one or two red shirt guys. Unfortunately, I didn't see any of the actual red shirt guy himself, other than in some videos, and lots of references. It's kind of funny, that guy nearly has his own little Leroy Jenkins style fame around him. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.